I just did 100 voice recordings using Silencio AI to see what they actually would pay me out now in 2026, and I managed to get paid, but the results kind of surprised me a little bit, both in a good way and in a bad way, so I will take you through that. I've been using Silencio myself since 2023. I was one of the first 1,000 users actually, and now there are 1 or 2 million, I believe. It's been a platform that's worked really well, and so I thought I would show you this time around just this kind of speaking, just we talk normally, and we can enter into these different kind of language campaigns and see how that works, and I'll walk you through all of this before I show you the final number in the end. So some quick context about all of this. Silencio AI is a website or app where you record your voice when you have all of these different kind of campaigns. You can do different kinds of sounds, and we basically get rewarded for that in USDC, dollars pretty much. Different kind of companies use these data, these recordings to train AI voice models, and we get rewarded for it in the end. I believe so far there's been $3 million in value that have been paid out to users all over the world, so Silencio have come quite far already. And here I'm just showing you a few of these kind of languages that we can get paid for. There are countless. I can just keep scrolling here forever pretty much. But alright, so this week I sat down to to reach 100 recordings. And I wanted to try out different sorts of campaigns and see what they would pay out and what doesn't, what works the best, and how long it takes to get paid. Because sometimes a lot of people don't know that it's actually when the data that we provide is being bought and end up getting used, that is only when we get paid, which pretty much makes sense according to me. So actually last year I did some recordings in Swedish, and I did also some ones in English, but I haven't actually gotten those recordings verified yet and gotten paid for them. Not all of them, but some I have gotten paid for. So just keep that in mind, that all the recordings you do will not end up getting you paid. So for this video I wanted to try out a bunch of different languages. I wanted to do the sounds, the noises, to see which is the best approach. And also, if this video managed to get 500 likes, I will in the next video make 500 recordings. So if you like this kind of stuff, consider to help me with a like and I'll make that video. So when I started recording all of these languages when I speak, I did the first 15 or 20 of these recordings, and then it appeared that I needed to do a Captcha at the end of each recording, which ended up taking a lot more time than doing these recordings by themselves. So I did those 15 or 20 recordings, then I actually closed down the app for the day, kind of like giving up. I thought to myself, this is taking too much long solving all of these Captchas. But then I thought of the solution that I only did 30-second recordings, and Silencio actually only pays us on the amount of voice data we provide. So it's actually the time we are just speaking that we are getting paid for. So I thought to myself, well then, if I do a 1 minute recording every time, or a 1.5 minute recording, or even 2 minute recording, then the amount of time that I will spend doing Captchas afterwards will end up being much shorter. So I actually went and did that. So my first tip, if you're gonna do this yourself, is to make longer recordings. Of course, the recordings you do need to be accurate. You need to have a stable volume. You need to talk clearly and have no background noise pretty much. Then it's better to do longer recordings if you can live up to all of that. And here's another important thing. Silencio announced a new set of campaigns considering just different kinds of noises, where we could whistle, we could sniff, we could throat clearing, like that. And those were just 30-second clips. And I participated in a lot of these different kinds of sound campaigns and provided a lot of recordings. And these were actually very easy to perform. And actually, after a week after I had recorded a lot of those sounds, I actually got the email that some of those recordings had already been reviewed and paid for. And when I looked at which ones that I've gotten paid for, almost all of those came from those kinds of campaigns, the new sound ones, where we just recorded stuff like whistling and sniffing. So if I go here and look at my different kinds of history, I still have a lot of sound recordings that are still pending, and also I have a lot of English recordings that are still pending, I believe most of them. So my second tip here is that when Silencio drops these kinds of new campaigns, I would prioritize those, because it seems those time-limited campaigns are getting reviewed the fastest. Regular language recordings can sit pending for months, if not even forever, if there isn't anyone that wants to buy the data. So participate in those new campaigns is highly recommended, I think. But the biggest thing I realized this week is that Silencio have something called the earnings boost level system. This is the part that very much changes the potential payment amounts, and here's how it works. So there are 5 different levels we can have to our account here. We can have the human one. Let's see if I can click here. We can have the human where we get a 0% boost, which is what we start out with. Then we can increase that amount to get more earnings boost. You see 25%, 50%, 75%, and even 100% on everything that we record. And this is just based on the amount of SLC that we hold in our account or our wallet here on the app or the platform. So if we just hold $25 worth, we will get this 25% boost. And if we were to hold $250 worth, then we will get a 100% boost. But it's also not only just the boost that we get, because we also get priority review queues. So I believe our recordings will then get reviewed and paid out a lot faster. And we also get first access to new sort of campaigns when they drop, which I talked about before is very valuable because some of those campaigns can pay out a lot faster as well. And the bonus amount that we get from this are in the SLC token. And SLC in itself has its own value that we can sell or do whatever we want with, but we can also use that to increase this level. So starting out, we literally don't need to invest anything to get started. We can do all of these recordings just like I did with my first 100 recordings here. And after all, we will get more and more out of it. So when we do recordings, we get USDC, but we also get SLC and we get raffle tickets. So every time we do recordings, we get these kind of raffle tickets that we redeem. And every month there is a monthly raffle where we then get SLC as well. So we get both SLC from doing recordings and we get raffle tickets from recordings that for every month, we get even more SLC. So all of that kind of bundles together and we get more and more SLC over time that we can use to increase the levels. That will give us more rewards overall for recordings. So by just using this for continuously month after month, we will get more and more SLC, upgrade our account and get higher kinds of payouts. So getting as much raffle tickets as possible and redeeming them is definitely something we should do. So here's how I would approach Silencio in 2026. I would sign up, which is free, takes just 30 seconds and you only need your Google account. I will leave a link to the Silencio AI website below in the video description. When you just start out, you go to your profile and make sure to enable all of the languages you speak in there so you become eligible for all your different kinds of language campaigns that you can record in. And to maximize the amount of raffle tickets you get from all of your recordings, make sure when you enter into new languages or new sound campaigns or anything that you type in this code AU50JZ, because that gives you 25% extra raffle tickets, which means more SLC. Then I would focus on the new sound campaigns when they drop, as they seem to be the best. And let your SLC build up over time. I will soon show you the exact amount I got paid, but to be completely honest about all of this, Silencio isn't going to replace your job. If you can teach English online or do real freelance work, the hourly rate will be much better from that. But Silencio is also something you can do whenever you feel like it, while waiting for the bus, having a break, and there is no set amount you need to do. There is no boss telling you need to do it. So it's a small side thing anyone can do on the side whenever they feel like it. To see how the rest of the Silencio app works, I will link to another video explaining that below. Alright, so the actual number I got paid out after reaching 100 recordings this week, mainly for some of the sound recordings I did, but I still got a lot of them pending. I got most of the recordings with the English language also pending, but I got a little bit paid out for that as well. But from what I've gotten verified so far, I managed to get $1.15 in USDC plus around 10,000 SLC, which is in today's price is around 70 cents. So in total, just under $2. But as I said, I don't know how much more I will get paid, because I think there's a lot more paid payouts coming here from the English recordings I did. But also I'm thinking about if I were to have the robot level here in my account, then those $2 would have been $4 instead by now, which already feels a lot better for the 30 or 40 sound recordings that I actually gotten paid for, which shows that this kind of level system really matters. So if we reach 500 likes in this video, I will make the other video where I do 500 recordings. So if you want to see that, make sure to hit that like. Here you can see similar videos if you like this one. Alright, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.